today. I'd like to welcome you to the 9th Annual Building Bridges Dual Credit Conference. Today, our pre-conference workshop is titled The Real World Recruitment Services. We do kindly ask you to mute your mic and to keep your webcams off to preserve bandwidth. Keep in mind that we will be recording today's session. We also would like you to go ahead and post your questions in the chat. We will collect them and our presenter will address the questions at the end of the session. For EPCC faculty development credit, we will go ahead and post a sign-in sheet. In the chat, you will sign in with your EPCC login credentials, and then the full attendee list will be downloadable from Teams for anyone without EPCC login credentials. We will also post the session evaluation in the chat afterwards towards the end of the workshop. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Michael Talamantes, our presenter.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I hope you all had a great day. I'm here to tell you about a true story of 50-plus university and college representatives picked to attend a college fair and have their pens taken to find out what happens when college fairs are not organized and start getting real, or even worse, we're forced to share a table. And then it becomes the real world gauntlet. So I'm not sure if you're an MTV fan, like I'm a product of the 90s. The Botox hopefully helps to mitigate that, but I am a true product of the 90s. And so real world was something I was very into. So gauntlet, right? If we have to share a table with one of our competitors like UTEP. So here's the Real World Recruitment Services Edition. I am Michael Talamantes, and here's my contact information. I started with EPCC on May 31st. So previously I have worked with the University of Texas at El Paso and with the University of Texas at Austin. Today's session is to talk about updates that recruitment services will be providing and helping getting EPCC out into the ethos. And moreover, give you some context of what events that we have going on and have hopefully a round table of discussions or some questions that will be posted in the chat of what type of recruitment events you would like to see happen here at EPCC that are much more than a table setup. So here's my contact information. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot or a picture or scan that QR code with your camera, it'll give you my cell phone and all that information that you see there already. But as you can tell from my past, everywhere in higher education has been involving some facet of admissions and recruitment. So this is my gig. This is what I like. I've never wanted to be an advisor. I never wanted to be a financial aid person. I never wanted to work in student affairs. It has always been admissions and recruitment throughout my bloodline in my professional life. So I'm very happy to be part of EPCC, and it is the best place to start. And it's also, I look better in purple too. So I'm very excited to present with you this afternoon, okay? So a little fun facts about me. I'm product of the Northeast, from Andrews High School, went to UTEP, and my time at UT Austin, I was actually the regional admissions director. So my charge was to be based here in El Paso. We opened up an admissions center over there by Loma Land, in between Wainwright Law Offices and the Walmart off Loma Land. And the charge was to get students from El Paso to go to UT Austin. And my territory was the El Paso area, Albuquerque, and 5 schools in California: Beverly Hills High School, Miracosta, Calabasas, etc. So those high schools that could afford a UT Austin price tag. And throughout that, I had the great opportunity to go back to where it all started at UTEP and become their Director of Admissions and Recruitment. And I had the wonderful opportunity to be here as Recruitment Services Director. So through all that, in my education in higher education administration, I fell into this role in higher ed admissions, maybe like most of you. I mean, we don't grow up thinking, oh, we're going to be a director of recruitment services or work in our positions in college. It's very different from those students that I read emails before when they said, oh, I always knew I wanted to be an architect because I would always request Legos for Christmas. And, you know, when I got this Lego set, age 6, it really made me think that I want to be an architect. I mean, nobody knew at age 6 what an architect is, maybe, but there's no toy or there's really no pathway to our positions. We kind of just fall into it. So I was in that boat too. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. Then I started as a recruiter at UTEP when I graduated and realized very quickly that no, I don't want to be a teacher. I'm the nice uncle. I like to have the class, tell them what I need to do, and then give them back to their parents. I don't want to be in charge of a full classroom. And throughout all the books and everything that happens when you go enrolled at the Master's in Higher Education Administration, this really stuck out to me because when I first came into recruitment, everyone says, oh, and what I thought initially too, way back in the day, we're talking about early 2000s here, that you just have to look pretty or cute behind a table, pass out brochures, pens, and you're good. That's recruitment, right? Fast forward to everything that I know now. If I could tell myself, my younger self, yeah, it's a whole different ball game than just doing a table setup. So why are we still doing table setups in 2022? Well, here is a sample, the triangle of tension. This is something that stuck in my head to like really analyze, okay, what type of recruitment events are we doing to go offset than just a table setup? Well, this triangle of tension is something that can be applied to anything, right? And for this example, the post-secondary education institution is us, EPCC. We always strive to be excellent and better, but yet we also strive to provide that excellence with being most cost effective and by being access and having the excellence of our education, we also have to be fair and not disparage anybody who may be marginalized, etc. So this is from Robert Hess, and it's one of my policy classes that this triangle of tension is something that I see when I'm planning out recruitment events of, okay, this is to benefit the college. We need to do it with this budget, but then we also need to worry about our audience. So if you think forward when it comes to how everything we do here at the college and every event to see if it's worthwhile or not, we need to translate this into EPCC. So for example, we have our academic institutional interest of notifying everybody that we are the best place to start and to finish. And then we have public interest, the people that said, you know what, EPCC should do this. Or when you're out in Albertsons, right? And or you're out at a restaurant and somebody asks you what you do and they say you work at EPCC, you're automatically lumped in being the counselor, the recruiter, knowing a little about brochures of payment plans, et cetera, because they equate us in the public view as knowing everything and being champions of EPCC. And then on the other side, you have market interests. So right now, things are tough. Things are going up. Prices increase. So being very formidable in in this wave of everything price hikes, et cetera, that the board and the policies that are being made to ensure that our tuition is affordable and accessible for our partners and for the region. So when it comes to a table setup, when you think about that, that is EPCC. So this is the view of EPCC, right? This is the whole theory itself. We're breaking it down to EPCC, and then we're breaking it further to our high schools. So the relationships that we have with our incoming freshmen and our first time in college constituents is very important to the lifeblood of EPCC. Dual credit, early college, high school, etc. So when America High School is faced, for example, with this triangle of tension, they have to make sure that they are meeting their institutional needs as a high school, but within SISD. They also need to facilitate any public interest of having community events, maybe mother-daughter, father-son events, etc. And then market interest of and knowing that they need to create a college going culture. So with those things said, they have participating colleges that are coming in to recruit. The high school campus itself has its own initiative, and the school district is dictating to America's high school, you need to have X amount of students go to a post-secondary education, and you need to tell me how many students are going to your events, for example. So all in all, when all this tension happens, ultimately, what do high schools request? They always request a college fair table setup because it what? It checks off all those points. We're having a college fair to show the district that they're having a college going and promoting it culture at America's high school. It's showcasing the high school and letting the parents know that they picked the right school because there's their high school is really communicating with the colleges to recruit and make their students more marketable to go to their colleges. And you see it's just a whole type of connecting factor for it. So typically when everybody thinks about recruitment, they're like, let's just have a table set up. Well, we want to break that mold, and how can we do that? So for recruitment services, we have a listing of events that we'll be highlighting, but I do want to give you some perspective of what changes we have been doing since I have been on board on May 31st. So right now, like with most colleges and universities, and you probably have vacancies in your department, right now, it's really the employees' world. There's so many opportunities, but with those opportunities, people are being a little bit more selective based off salary. You can imagine about the applicant pool. The applicant pool you're getting right now may not be that pre-COVID applicant pool where you're getting 40 plus resumes, when right now you're getting less than 10 because there's so many opportunity incentives across the way. So currently right now, this is the team under recruitment services, and we are labeled, the recruitment team are labeled as a transition specialist. So the history is that before I arrived, the director role has been vacant for close to 3 years. So you can imagine with the vacancy of a director position like this, how things can accumulate within the office, or how things can be stagnant. So right off the bat, taking inventory of what recruitment is and how we can identify ourselves, no matter if it's a dual credit counselor, if it's someone from my office, or it's someone from Miss Inez Lopez at Financial Aid, when you come in with that polo that doesn't really have your department name, the high school is just going to equate you with EPCC. They don't really matter which department you're at, right? So when they hear or see transition specialists, we will be changing that to actual recruiter position. So I need to fill my vacancies first before I can make that change happen. So I do have full-timers that are assigned to high schools that we'll talk about in a minute, and some part-times that help supplement those initiatives with us. So that's our current team right now. Then when it comes to territory management, we are within the region. So Dr. Sarata really invested in Region 19. So we need to make sure that we have the best customer service when it comes to our campuses. So taking inventory again, which is a classic recruitment 101. Just FYI, before my Accord I got, my previous vehicle, it was a 2005 Altima, 280,000 miles because I was a recruiter. We used our own vehicles. So being cognizant of using our own vehicles, really seeing right off the bat, our recruitment team, our territories were all over the place. I had a recruiter whose territory was San Eli and then Canutillo. So you can imagine if I'm asking to drop off posters or brochures for Tejano Day that we're going to be having pretty soon, then that's going to be quite cumbersome to hit all the schools within one day, when we can consolidate them into a localized area and get them done in the morning. So we have revamped the case management model with our recruiters. So everybody has territories within the Northeast or Far East or Far West, and they're not going across El Paso to get things done, which will again elevate our level of customer service too. I've been doing presentations and letting you know what's going on to different departments. So we are increasing our outreach to campus partners and liaison with them, and noticing right off the bat that our training aspect to increase our customer service. Right now in higher ed, for recruitment purposes, some institutions will have recruiters that process applications and then recruit. Some will just have recruiters and not have the processing element to it. So if you can argue both sides to say which would be ideal or what have you, but essentially right now, our recruitment team, when they go out to campuses, they're not empowered to make changes. For example, if little Timmy and little Susie, and I use those examples, and mind me, we'll use that through the whole presentation, we can have our Lena who goes over to Horizon, meeting with little Timmy. Little Timmy is saying that I'm not hearing anything from EPCC. I didn't get an email. I didn't get a letter or anything of that nature. Then Arlena looks on banner and notices that little Timmy's email address is wrong. Currently, right now, the process is, well, let me connect you with admissions to make the change. Far away, right? In person, and making a simple change of an email, I have to wait to connect with admissions. So this summer, the team and I have been trained. We've been given access as well with Dr. Lichica Chavez in admissions, and we got some view access from financial aid with Ms. Inez Lopez, where we are able to make changes in Spaden and SATM. So little things like correcting phone numbers, correcting email address, we can do moving forward. So we're very happy that we're able to provide that service. That little thing can speak volumes as opposed to creating that bounce around or run around or whatever you want to call it from department to department where that frustrates a student and gives kind of a bad first impression on that. For financial aid, we're in the midst of financial aid workshops and they're doing a wonderful job in coordinating that. We're supporting that. We'll be able to we're given view access to see if students have submitted their FAFSA and if it's processed in the pipeline, et cetera. The new exciting thing too that we were trained on with career and transfer services, and this harkens to a lot of things that you experience if you help out with Operation College Bound or when you're doing presentations at the high schools, is what major, what career path do I go? The high schools do have career assessments, but sometimes it feels like a third party or an institutional entity like us who will foster a career coach assessment can really speak volumes on what pathway the student may choose when they select EPCC. So we've been trained by Career and Transfer Services, and we are going to implement career coach assessments at the high schools. So in the grand scheme of our recruitment plan, in the spring, we'll start having career assessments at the high schools for seniors. And right now, when we met with some counselors early in the fall semester, when I was going with the team and reintroducing myself and introducing them, uh, the counselors are very happy. They're like, this will help give another view for the student who was undecided or thought, well, maybe I was planning on doing this. And guess what? You can get that for $1,632 here at EPCC versus paying XYZ at XYZ campus. So we're very excited to test drive that for seniors. So hopefully when we get to Operation College Bound and we get further into the start of the new term, then students will be able to get an idea of what they would like. So we're very happy to partner with them and to facilitate the career coach assessments at the high school and not have them wait till they're here at EPCC. We're taking assessment on our communication page. So noticing right off the bat, like we definitely want to have a Meet Your Recruiter tab on our website. This is our wish list of items that we're working on. And of course, it takes time. But definitely, if I'm typing in Andrews High School, it should show Andres Rea and it should have his email and his phone number. Currently, right now, that's not happening. We don't have a sign up for more information. We just have our email listed. So we plan on having something listed through. Currently, right now, EPCC does not have a CRM system. And a CRM is a constituent relationship management system. Just think of it when you buy something from Amazon, that's how that you get the nice emails. With a CRM, you can send nice emails, you can do calling campaigns, you can also do event management. And I know that we use forms here at EPCC, but it's another software system that a lot of colleges and universities use to case management and really identify who's a prospect and who's an applicant, which we'll get more into in a minute. We would like to implement an on Microsoft Bookings page so they could book time with the recruitment person, with the recruiter. And then I'm the lead for the foster adopted college transition. The Pride Center over on Montana. So if there's any students that need additional support, we're linking up with the EPCC Foundation. So if you are coming across students that are meeting housing insecurity, food challenges, etc., and they are under conservatorship or indeed, adopted youth in the state of Texas, please let me know and we'll get them connected for additional funding and I'll be the contact for that moving forward. And we're working with Dr. Quiros in the QEP videos. So through all these the events that we're having and the event that we're having this week for Tackle College Week, we are posting the enrollment checklist and the QR code to gain traction to the QEP videos. So I have yet to connect with Dr. Quiros since I met with her in the summer to see if our efforts have really bumped up views and clicks on that video. So hopefully our efforts are showing the numbers. And with that being said, in development, there are a lot of different recruitment pieces that we want to develop. I do want to have one comprehensive brochure. So if you're at Albertsons, for et cetera, and you just meet a random stranger and they ask about EPCC questions, then you can get brochures from your trunk and be like, here, this is everything you need to know and more about EPCC. So things like that we want to develop. And earlier on, I know with Selena, they're asking for shirts, swag items. Our office has been deemed as a place to get all that. And we're noticing and trying to make a request that departments try to move away. And this was ordered before I came on board, but to move away from department specific items because they may like a water bottle, but at recruitment services, they won't like really care. Like, what is that? As long as it has the EPCC logo, I think we can really buy into certain pieces of swag altogether so we can order more and it becomes at a less price. But for now, definitely hit me up for any items that you would like to have in your presentations, etc. I'd pause for any questions. I can't see the chat, but um, I'll
We
just
don't
give it a
have any
minute.
questions posted yet in the chat, Michael.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Another item that I am in charge of, and this helps benefit you as well, is that I am overseeing the call center. So EPCC does have a call center. It was managed by Miss Sano, and Miss Sano recently retired at the end of August. So currently I have three active call members. Some are part-time and full-time across the district and we are looking to hire a manager and other call members. And these are just purely outbound calls. So for example, we're in the middle in progress of calling students, current EPC students that have a FAFSA, received FAFSA, and letting them know that, hey, the FAFSA is open as of October 1st. Make sure that you renew your FAFSA application for the next year. We are also working on a campaign of students for Minimester 2. There's over 200. Right now, we shaved off about 63 students from that list that actually made payment. So Mr. Vasquez is very happy with us. And we'll do campaigns like this, and these are all purely outbound calls. So right now that looks a little daunting. Well, Michael, you have three members and you're trying to have 10,000 plus calls done. Yes, so that's their whole adage is just outbound calls. So if there's any particular calling campaigns that you would like for us to facilitate, this is an institution-wide call center. So we are working to get active members. We have a space here in the Student Support Services Center that we're looking at converting, and we'll be able to house our team members there and help with all our calling campaign efforts for the district. So there is a process right now. Then that process is simply just emailing me. I'll provide you with a script template and an email template that you'll provide us. So we'll be able to communicate your message across the board. So this could be about holds. It could be about an event that's happening, XYZ items. So, we have a lot to work with and some anxious call center members that would love to facilitate these calls. Another facet of what I oversee is our Texas Workforce Mentors and College Readiness Mentors. So these are current EPCC students that help support college readiness and financial aid initiatives at the region. Dr. Sarata has appointed 10 elementary schools, a part of that group, that we help support as our EPCC adopted schools and campuses. So right here you see all 10 of these elementary schools, and you can see they pretty much represent facets of all the major districts across Region 19. The check marks indicate planning meetings that we've had so far with the elementaries, and in these meetings, we map out what we can help to support the school and campus and what needs that they want from us. So for example, we are launching a test pilot of Explore EPCC series. The principal, Mr. Alvarez, was wanting to have EPCC represented every month, the last Wednesday of every month. And last month we had Dr. Castillo come by. We talked about chemistry and how chemistry is everywhere. All the third, fourth, and fifth graders were there, and they had the opportunity to create elephant soap, create a glow stick, and there's like a bubble with dry ice. So if they touched the bubble, then dry ice came. I mean, they went bananas over it, and they had a fun time learning about all the opportunities within science and particularly chemistry through Dr. Castillo and their team. So we're highlighting different avenues of how we can support and educate our youngins through EPC Explore EPC series. So this last Wednesday of this month, we're highlighting dance and theater. So we're very excited about that. So who becomes an adopted school? Can we get more? More to come. There's no legislative on this. These are just the schools that Dr. Sarata had deemed at that point in time, and we're giving extra focus on them and support, and we give them nifty little college-bound flags at their campuses. So let's give you a listing of events that are going outside of table setups and fairs from what we're discussing and bringing everything all together. So for our outreach efforts that we have, the first off is through Apply Texas. So the Apply Texas workshops. And this is something, of course, with dual credit and with early college, high school departments of how we can help coordinate some efforts, because right now with the Apply Texas workshops, we're only hitting the high school students for fall 2023. So that dual credit application, we noticed that many students already have a dual credit application, so we're re-upping it because of course residency does expire within a year. But before we move on to applicants, we do have prospect data sets. So while we're waiting for admissions to process applications, we're still doing outreach to our prospects. And right now we've obtained data sets through the Freedom of Information Act, right? Through an Information Act request at each of the districts. And that data set totals over 11,000 students that I have. So I have phone numbers, student emails, and that's the kicker. They're student emails, they're not their personal emails. We get their personal emails when they apply with us, right? But we're able to send invitations and call, etc., through these data sets that are obtained earlier in the year. We plan on getting these every year, getting the rising juniors at the end of the spring. So by the time we use a data set in the fall, the majority of them are already going to be seniors. So while we're also doing that, this is an effort between UTEP and EPCC. We're unable to recruit for EPCC. We're unable to give swag items and give pens. For Apply Texas, you can see on the left and how it takes the majority of our recruitment cycle is really go to the school, get the application, go to the next school. Application, next school, leave, next school, etc. So we finished that already, and we finished that the last week of September. And right now we're just doing ad hoc Apply Texas workshops. So it's really EPCC based, where we can go and not need to coordinate with UTEP when we do these initiatives to make sure that we have the majority of the senior class already applying with EPCC. So since that takes a good chunk of my time, what are we doing to recruit for EPCC, right? Since we're getting and volunteering students to apply with us and UTEP, because most of this has already been established through old MOUs that are about 10 years plus old, where it's a regional collaborative effort to make sure that we have both UTEP and EPC applications from all graduating seniors. In some cases, some of the high schools make it required for graduation. Like they need to have those two applications in place before they can clear off on their senior interviews and senior checklist. So we kicked off something, right? And we had a great collaboration with you all and Dean Badillo and Renee Chavez, and it was called EPCC Expo. And blown away, right? We were very excited and we were very receiving all the great feedback, still tweaking a survey to send out to make sure I get something documented from the counselors that attended. but this was for high school counselors and college readiness professionals, and along linked up with your training for your designated contacts at the region. And if you attended, it was pretty good, right? I think it went well. And those are the numbers of what we have supported. So before September 16th, I believe 3 days before, we sold out. We reached our capacity of 200 through the Eventbrite system. So we had 150 RSVP and attend, and we had 39 on-site registrations for people that did not RSVP. So the total was 189. So you saw that, you felt it, especially in the afternoon portion for your area and your presentations, but the counselors' great feedback about, I didn't know EPCC had this. And that was a great first kickoff, and this will be annual. So I already have the date for next year, and we're already connected with the district, so it's on their calendar. That is going to be September 15th of 2023. It's another Friday. But also getting inklings of like, can we have an expo for middle school counselors? Can we have an expo for elementary? So that's great. You know, we're taking one thing at a time right now, but we're very excited that we're able to kick off the recruitment cycle with EPCC Expo and letting them know all the great, exciting things, which have led to a lot of other events that I will be talking about towards the end. So with that, we noticed that with Apply Texas, again, we're only getting the applications. We're not doing any promotions, etc., for EPCC. So we are going to be launching EPCC application roundups, or just EPCC roundups. So currently this is the schedule, and the roundup is essentially having an exhibit, information sessions, yes, tabling, but not solely focused on tabling. Checking status of financial aid, checking status of admissions, having people apply, having people submit their FAFSA, really having some type of events out in the community that let them know that they don't need to strictly come here, which we'll say that for another event, but it gives that good optics and good feel good of that EPCC's out in the community to let them know what's going on. So these are the dates that we have confirmed thus far, November 7th and February 6th. There is a little conflict with the November 7th, but I'm working my magic to see if I can still make the fall happen. If not, we'll push into spring. And then for EPISD, Franklin High School has requested to be a host for an EPCC roundup. So I'm very excited about that with Lisa Schellenberg over at Franklin. So what is a roundup? Well, it looks something like this. You know, not an illustrator on Adobe, but we did our best here. If you've ever been to the YSD central office, they have a beautiful atrium in the middle. And so we plan on having our exhibits, orientation, doing some fun activities. In the theater, we'll have what is current technical education at EPC, what is financial fitness in both English and Spanish. We'll use their computer labs to check their FAFSA, to check their application or to apply, winning prizes, music, really a great exhibit, bringing it out to community. You may think, well, don't we do this for Operation College Bound? Yes, but who is a real crucial person in the decision-making process for a student being left out at Operation College Bound? The parents, right? The legal guardians, their home base. So having these evening events and for the community will allow them after work to come with their son or daughter and get really invested and excited also about EPCC, because what they think about EPCC maybe 20 years ago, when we know very well that we just finished a $115 million campus plan where there's nice, beautiful new buildings that touched by an angel. Every single campus has been touched by an angel through that campus plan, and that's something to highlight and tell and innovate what we're doing each day. Currently, right now, and then for this, for example, is happening from 5 to 8 p.m. on those days that are listed there on the previous slide. Currently, it's College Fair Week, so again, to bring it back to the very beginning, yes, table setups are still prevalent. And the reason why we lean on them is until as old as time. But again, having a table setup checks all those balances for everybody, right? Recruitment for us, college awareness from behalf of the high school, and then showing college readiness through the district as a why. So for TechGrow, it is still a week-long process as far as having fairs in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. So currently my team is out in the mist. We're wearing matching polos and all that good stuff. We're even trying to build that infrastructure where nobody's late. So we're providing lunch too, like, you can't be late to a fair. Come here, have lunch, and then go get there 30 minutes ahead of schedule. So here, you'll see that we have our fair week, AM, PM, and evening events that are happening this week. I'm not the tech group coordinator, but I plan on to hopefully for next year. And we have currently 52 colleges that are here in El Paso recruiting, and of course, EPCC is showing out at every single one of them. Thursday night, however, again, Triangle of Tension was presented with 3 different requests. So Career and Transfer Services needed to have a transfer fair for our current EPCC students to give them options of where they could transfer out after they obtain their associates. McDonald's had previously worked with EPCC, and their request was that, well, we would have these nights hosted at EPCC, but we would not get reps because it would be at the tail end of the fall semester. We'd probably get maybe 10 colleges at most. The third request is, well, during TACRO week, there's always a citywide event. And usually either it is a citywide event that's hosted outside of the high school, whether at UTEP or EPCC. UTEP hasn't done it, so it was a great opportunity to wedge ourselves in there. And so we're checking off all the boxes. So Career and Transfer Services, we're having a night this Thursday where they have advertised to our current population to let them know, hey, 42 colleges out of the 52 will be staying for Thursday night, and they can learn how the transfer process is. It checks off for McDonald's because they were very happy. The Marketing and Lopez group that works with the local chapter of McDonald's here, we're very happy that I was able to secure 42 colleges because we linked it through everybody's initiative, right? We found an event that has that triangle of tension and meeting different partners' needs for one event. So we're not triplicating, quadruplicating efforts, right, on things that are happening. And it serves as a citywide event that really ends the week on a high note because everybody, all the recruiters will have this as their last hurrah before they go on to the next week in Texas. Because TACRO, there's just circuit weeks where there's Dallas, there's Houston, El Paso, San Antonio, etc., where recruiters in the TACRO organization are just going to fair, circuit to circuit for the whole fall semester. We're also providing some guiding questions for our current students and letting them know who's here for their transfer availability or transfer process. So again, checking all those marks in our triangle of tension of what we want to satisfy through a recruitment event. So it is really clearing all those boxes, and we hope we get a good turnout on Thursday. We are supporting a financial aid with their FAFSA workshops, and their FAFSA workshops have been again out through the community. So if you've seen this flyer or not, we are supporting financial aid by having our mentors and our recruiters out there. And they worked out a system where if you see a school in blue, that means UTEP is taking care of that campus. If you see a school in green, EPC will be taking that. If you see a school in red, that's through Texas Tech University, the local installation that helps support these initiatives. So we are asking them to fill out their FAFSA, and it started October 1st, and the last one would be the first week of November. So we are supporting that effort too. Currently right now, as you know, if you're working with your high school partners, is that not only are most of them requesting the application, right? They may have a dual credit application already. They need to reapply for their freshman application because again, residency again expires within a year. But they're also requiring that's the mandate is to get their FAFSA. So they either have to show proof that they submitted their FAFSA, or there's an exemption that the parent has to sign or the student has to acknowledge that they did not want to forego and submit a FAFSA that the counselors need for graduation. Other events that we have lined up will for Fort Bliss. Again, we have a lot of a potential with Fort Bliss that kind of have been left by the wayside. So we are building that back up, connected with Dwayne Gully and also Simone Wendrick Hicks over there at the school liaison's office to see, hey, what can we do for our military affiliate community, especially with those families that are transitioning here? What if we had an event at the youth center, right? Or the Sergeant Major's Academy. So picture, if you will, right? Because this helps all of us on this call. that we're getting families, like 300 families coming into El Paso. And there's a process, right, that happens at the Sergeant Major Academy where they get a list of districts to enroll their students, that they get, information about their benefits, etc. Well, what would be lovely if we were there to talk about, hey, well, we have dual credit options at EPCC for your son or daughter, that if you're stationed here for XYZ years, just know that at this affordable price and with the infrastructure that we built within the districts, your son or daughter can leave with 24 credit hours of dual credit, etc. Or that we have early college high schools here that you can enroll. So we're working on trying to develop those type of events on Fort Bliss. And we also have space. We have space in an education center that hasn't been utilized. And there's a lot of new happening things at Fort Bliss as well, where I'm coordinating a general tour of the installation. So once I have that date scheduled, I'm going to reach out to everybody across the district and say, hey, do you want to see the exciting things at Fort Bliss? And let's get on the bus and go around and get shown these facilities. So that's something that we're working as well. And we developed an annual pass. So if we do develop events, there are key people within the district admissions, financial aid within enrollment services to ensure that we're getting these annual cards where we don't have to bypass or deal with showing insurance and da. So hopefully when we establish events, we'll have a team that will just get an easy out and easy for the installation. One thing I did want to plug because the announcement's going to be made through the bulletin is that EPCC has a sponsorship at Socorro at the complex. And so I can tell you through my years in recruitment, athletic events are not the T. That's not the place to recruit and do table setups unless you're, an athletic recruiter, right? But this is purely for optics since we do have a sponsorship and we're at a high sponsorship level at the complex and we do have our logo and our video is shown on the big screen. But EPCC night is November 4th. So definitely save that date on your calendar. More details to come, whether we all show up in purple, we'll be sitting in the area, tickets will be waived, etc. But Dr. Sarata will be doing the coin toss for EPCC night. So just stay tuned, save that date if you possibly can attend, and it'll be an exciting time and hopefully we'll be able to really show Socorro that we are, a great option for their students and that we also support them in all their initiatives as well. Now for Operation College Bound. So I am in charge of that moving forward. So I'll be the person coordinating the events that will happen for spring. Right now, Operation College Bound really started with the PCC, right, back in 2018. And since then, it has developed into an amazing anchor event for our institution. So much so that when it comes to the amount of students that we enroll in the programming, et cetera, the planning effort is starting this fall semester. So already meeting with different components to kind of get familiarized with Operation College Bound and how it happens here. It's very, not too long ago, I was on the other side of the coin at these events, wearing orange and having this high-pitched voice shouting throughout the microphone in the gym. So I'm very happy to do that, wearing purple and being part of EPCC and planning out everything. So I'm taking inventory of what the program is like, but here it just gives you such an impact for this event and how everything that we're doing from the beginning of the fall semester leading up to this helps support. So for example, through the training with admissions and registrar with Dr. Lichica Chavez, we will be working on getting access to meningitis. So recruiters can not only collect the meningitis, but process it and process the exemptions. So hopefully that would not hinder the student from those bottlenecks at Operation College Bound for the advising or counseling sessions that happen at the campuses. So this was a snapshot taken in May 19th. Obviously, things have changed up until now. But as Dr. Amaya had mentioned in the State of the College, we are up in enrollment. It may be a percentage point or not, but it is a positive percentage. So that's great. But here you can see the benefit of an event like this and how everything leads up to maybe this end game, if you will, if you're a Marvel fan, end game that we have through recruitment here at APCC. So the column that you'll see here, we have the district listed on high school, the event day, and the total amount of students that we checked in, and the total students that were enrolled, and the percentage of that. So the second slide here that you'll see gives you the full total the amount of students that checked in and the amount of students that we enrolled, right? So that's amazing about the amount of students that we do get through Operation College Bound. But when it comes to partnerships of how we can excel and enhance our outreach, and that is really being collaborative in our efforts of these events, okay? So one thing too, another event that we'll be having is that I was blown away with the beautiful interior design edition over at Trans Mountain. So we connected with interior design, we did a walkthrough, we had a meeting, and we're gonna have an open house because we need to let people know that this is like project runway level space, HGTV, like it is a wonderful space and that people have the opportunity and the students have the opportunity to get um, a great opportunity with interior design. So let's invite the construction firms, let's invite interior designs locally, let's invite real estate, let's invite high school counselors, current students that may be up in the air about what's going on with their major and highlight events like this. So really opening up our doors needs to really happen to really showcase what offerings we have, not only for our current students that chose us, but also for our region. Okay, so say the date on that one. That'd be nice. So with all these events said, you know, there's a lot of departments that are doing efforts, that are purchasing brochures, that are purchasing swag items, that are doing events XYZ. So we have established an EPCC recruitment network. And so this recruitment network has met 3 times already, and it has all the invested campus partners that have a vested interest in recruitment in some aspect. Hi, I think we have a mic that's unmute. Friendly reminder to mute your mic since it's being recorded. Thank you. So with this, we do share best practices, and I also provide information on what we're doing. And it's really not a song and dance for me and my department to let you know what we're doing recruitment-wise for EPCC, but when we're establishing these big events, right, it comes to mind of, well, how can we add on to the event that we're coordinating? Or during our time of open forum, I may be noticing that dance is having something, a camp, that we probably need to participate in and help support. Or GED testing is happening. Well, if I have students that are taking the GED in person, well, shouldn't we have a follow-up or event to say, hey, well, now that you have your GED and you passed, let's get you enrolled for the next term. Some things that we can synergy together through that. And the recruitment network is off the charts and running with it. So if there's any members right now, for departments, for example, AVP Primizic attends. We have, Pat Duran with counseling that represents counseling over there from Mission goes there. Career and Transfer Services. Alexis Anderson over at Dance, for example, Dr. Castillo. And this network is established through a Teams in Microsoft where we post all our events and flyers and we help how we can support each other, whether we need staffing, funding, or ideas, right? So ideas are always great to have, especially when we're out in the community and we're like, oh, well, maybe PCC should have joined and supported that. So if you're interested, connect with your higher up, connect with your bosses to see if we're able to commit. We do meet once a month, and once a month we do talk about updates that we're having through recruitment services and events that we're having for the district wide, but also if there's any initiatives that you need support with, that's a great time to get support from your peers through that network. And on the horizon, as we are wrapping up, I'm almost there, is streamlining our on-campus visit. Right now, if the students want to visit campus, they need to call our office and we need to fill out a form and make sure XYZ is done. Same thing with our counselors, same thing with like Olaya, with our early college high schools. So we need to streamline that, tighten up, and get the experience best for our students here. Also support for the adopted schools and our business outreach. So we had a very great good meeting with the ABP Primozic about logistics and how if you've ever driven through Global Reach and you're seeing these massive warehouses being built, well, logistics is an up and coming major and career where students can make mega bucks with not having their credential, or I mean, having the credential but not having their full bachelor's degree, right? So he's already thinking about ways that we can enhance the high school experience where students come with credentials and have some type of job fair that with a twist, where students know very well that if those employers that are at that job fair need these credentials, well, guess what? They're going to graduate from high school, they're credentialed through EPCC, and they automatically get into XYZ fair. So things like that. For example, the Trellis company that does our text messaging, they have a program called upskilling. We had an information session, and I'm the liaison with that. So if any student from Trellis or any team member from them wants to start at EPCC, Trellis is going to pay 100% of their tuition and fees. So we got 2 students through that pipeline already, that they just provide the card and they will pay for their team members to come to EPCC. And of course, expansion to our recruitment efforts. So Tejano Day, I mentioned earlier, we plan on doing some type of open house here. Of course, having the 5 different locations. Who takes precedent? Do we do all 5 campuses? Maybe every Saturday, who knows? That's in discussion. And of course, improving our communication plan of our calls, which you saw that we were doing with the EPCD call center, changing up our brochures to be a little bit more lively and have information and drive traffic through data-driven decisions, etc. So at that point, another reason why I loved Real World and use this theme is the confession. You know, those confessionals when people are talking mess about everybody. And then, of course, when it airs, they're like, wow, that person talked about me that way. I, definitely have the opportunity just to have the questions here. And when you're reaching out to me, I gave you my information. I'll bring up the screen again to text or call me. I'm open to any constructive criticism or any ideas that you may have to see that we could facilitate that and make it happen. So, just in the mind of whether you want to put in the chat or not, you can send in an email. How can we better address stigmas of students feeling bad or unsuccessful for staying in the region? That comes across a lot. But being a dual credit early college, the benefits of that are instrumental of them being young professionals with a bachelor's, younger than we are, right? And possibly moving forward in their credential area, and how staying here is not a reflection of what their talents are, but probably the economic right choice if they decide to go into their PhD or master's. So in the long run, it's a beneficial. I'm just leaving you with these questions, not really, I know we only have 5 minutes. The second question in our confessional is like, do you have any recruitment ideas you would like to see developed? So if it's anything from partnering with the ice cream festival that happens in July, or Chalk the Block that just happened, right? What type of things should EPCC participate in that would only heighten our visibility, but also bring in community members to start enrolling with us? And of course, the question is our slogan, our tagline, right? Why is EPC the best place to start? So in the efforts and our training that we've had with the recruitment team, your story really speaks volumes on how to relate with and connect with students. So developing why EPC was the best start for you, or maybe it wasn't, and that you attended EPCC. Throughout all my conversations out in the community, everybody has been exposed or has taken a course or something through EPCC. So we're very pervasive in the community. We are part of everyone's story. But how do we articulate that and resonate with that? That's kind of our charge, right? And recruitment is to kind of like link that up. And recruitment's everybody's job, especially being staff members here at EPCC, because of course enrollment is everyone's job, right? So I'll leave you with those questions. So here's my information again. You can go ahead, save that to the phone. And again, I'm really open to any conversations or ideas that you have. And thank you so much for your attention. I'm about 3 minutes shy, right? from 6, and I want to make sure I'm cognizant of everyone's time because there could be a show that you TiVoed or a Netflix series that you want to get into or dinner, okay? So I'll entertain any questions. I'll go ahead and stop sharing right now.
Any questions for Mr. Talamantes?
I have a question. This is Juan Luna. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much for your session. Very informational. Thank you for the work you're doing, Mr. Talamantes. My name is Juan Luna. I'm the computer-aided design coordinator, and I would like to also participate in also in the recruitment efforts. Also, can we get a schedule, I guess, when when the time comes ahead of time, so we can make some plans? Because I know this is intense. You're hitting many schools, and that's quite a task in itself. And I thank you for that. But I would like to also participate as we did in the past, and also take some members also from the ATC to also present and help with the recruitment efforts.
Absolutely. I'll reach out to you. I wrote your name down. I'll email you so we could schedule a time to meet up for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Juan Luna with the computer-aided design program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, if we did post the evaluation in the chat, so if you could please fill that out, you will have the opportunity to win door prizes, and the chances of winning will increase if once you attend more workshop sessions. Our pre-conference workshops are going to continue throughout the week, and then our conference begins Saturday morning at 8:45, and the keynote will be at 11. So again, thank you so much for participating. We hope to see you tomorrow evening and throughout the rest of the week. And thank you very much, Mr. Talamantes.
I'm going to throw in these for door prizes. They're Bluetooth speakers, and look, they have the logo on it, and they're legit speakers. So I'll throw these in for your raffle items, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. So make sure you fill out that evaluation so you all can get qualified for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Bye.